Hello everyone, I'm Associate Professor Dave Webb from the University of Western Australia, and welcome to my presentation, Marketing, Changing the Narrative. Conversation is such an important driver of activity, of behaviour, and we can recognise how important it is when we talk about big topics such as climate change, the state of the economy, planetary health, and so on. I was having a conversation with a dear friend the other morning over coffee, and perhaps the way it is. We were talking about why it was that we don't see as much positive action as we would like to see in respect to sustainability. Our conversation led us to recognize that there seems to be so much fear in the world as well, and it's perhaps this fear that freezes people from being able to take action. We explored this topic further, and my friend with great wisdom said, growth and flourishing occur in our vulnerabilities and not in our fears, emphasizing that if we want to move forward, then perhaps what we need to do is to expose our vulnerabilities, to recognize what they are and to work with them, and they would impact positively on our behaviors and take us in the desired direction. When it comes to conversations, meaningful conversations, I often highlight how important courage is. And certainly it takes a lot of courage to have a conversation about the things that are important to us. And perhaps it takes even more courage to bring about change, a change in behavior. Our conversations are often driven by an accepted narrative about the way things exist. And so I argue that it's this narrative that fuels malaise about climate change and planetary health that needs to change. As one example, we need to change the conversation we have about ourselves as consumers and producer actors in a global economy. We wear this badge of consumer, some with great pride. And yet I ask, what would it mean if we were to think of ourselves as co-creators of planetary health instead of as consumers of planetary resources? Would our preoccupation with consumption change? And yes, I argue that indeed it would, when narrative drives behavior. Now, of course, that's not going to be simple. It would require commencing a self-reflective conversation that recognizes that need fulfillment starts from within, in the relationship that we have with ourselves, with others, and with the wider community, and not with a shopping mall. In my postgraduate marketing class, I introduced students to a working definition of regenerative marketing that I came up with earlier this year. It runs, regenerative marketing occurs when governments, organizations, and individuals co-create value propositions that enable all elements within defined ecosystems to flourish. When we talk in terms of planetary health, we recognize the need for an open systems approach that recognizes the interdependence of all elements within a defined ecosystem and how important it is that they come together in terms of driving greater flourishing. And so if we want a just regenerative world in which all ecosystem elements flourish, we need to explore with compassion and wisdom how collectively we can co-create a new ontology, a new way of being, a new reality reinforced by new narratives such as the one that I've mentioned here today. Of course, in this brief presentation, I can only share a few ideas with you. My email address is on the first slide. So if anybody would like to follow up on any of these topics, I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you for listening to this presentation. Bye for now.